for Time for Truth. And Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Been a year of a lot of activity, a lot of change. Some of it not so good, obviously. But, you know, it's opened our eyes. It's kind of interesting how it's 2020. It's gone now. But we can all see very clearly a lot of things that have happened and a lot of things maybe that people had question about. The questions are gone. And we can see clearly now. And was talking with my friend Bobby in the background, and it's 2021. And 2021 is kind of interesting because it has significance that 21 is a winning hand. So 21 is blackjack, and we win. So here's my New Year's resolution for all of us watching our show tonight is that 21 in 2021, we win. That's our resolution. Number one, the human race gets harmony, gets coordinated, and we move forward in a positive manner. And I know we're all for that. So a Time for Truth resolution for 2021. There you have it. So I want to welcome you all. We're going to have a great show tonight. We have a friend of mine on who is an international entertainer. I don't know if I should call him entertainer, athlete, politician, humanitarian, and his name is Mr. Robert Hunter, which you see here on the screen, alias Z. So he was known as Z or Zorro on the Globetrotters. And I want to welcome our guest, Mr. Robert Hunter. Hello, Bobby.
Well, surely the program is correct because it's time for the truth. And that's all that we have to do is tell the truth with a little no sin. One of the most important things about this, the virus, is that it's shown us the way, because if we can solve and have a cure for the virus, then we can have the same cure for drugs, because it's affecting our nation in the same manner. So once we get off of this virus, and it's going to take a while, it's very clearly what we need to do in order to maintain our lives in a proper manner. Attack drugs in the same way as we attack this virus, with the vigor, with the strength, and being together.
Wholeheartedly, I totally agree, Bobby. And what I want to do before we get started with the show, I want to show the viewers a little bit about you. So, engineer, if we can play our first videos, please.
Hi, my name is Teacher for the Menihuni, and today we're going to check out the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Remember how they always used to do that in old-time television? The old steam-operated sets? My next guests are really magical. I can't believe them whenever I see them. I could watch them once a week. And for years, people have marveled at their showmanship and skill and brilliance. And one of them was on the show one time and hit me in the face with a basketball, which was funny, actually. They've just had 4 sellout concerts, games, I don't know what you call it in their category, because they... at Madison Square Garden, and they're on their way to Lincoln and Omaha, Nebraska. Good. Will you welcome the fabulous Harlem Globetrotters? must be the Harlem Globetrotters. Couldn't be anybody else who looks like you. You're Meadowlark Lemon.
Yes, I'm Meadowlark. This is Curly.
Curly, hi.
Fine.
Curly, very funny.
Zorro.
Zorro?
Yeah, you want to see my sword?
What does that mean?
And that's BJ.
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
It's BJ.
BJ, did you hurt your wrist, or is that for support?
Yes, well, support just hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I used to wear those when I was playing.
Jumping Jackie J.
Jumping Jackie Jackson.
How you do?
All right.
How do you do, gentlemen? Highly segregated team, I see. Well, thank you for sending the uniform over. I have always, as a kind of foolish childhood dream, wanted to stand in.
Where is
with
the uniform?
Well, it was too big. Oddly enough. Is there no guy on your team my size?
No guy. No guy at all. We don't have any.
Try this one?
I have it on, but it's under these clothes. No, I'll show you. You don't believe me, do you? These guys are perverts. No, they gave me part of a uniform, and they said when you get out there, if you feel it, you know, get down to it. But I don't feel it somehow.
Feel it. Go ahead and feel it. Feel it.
The Emmy Award Committee is watching, and no, really, this is really quite funny. Do you have a moment? One missing?
No, we don't make uniforms that small.
I want you to see something. What? Look at the shirt. This could bring back the maxi skirt if I... Anyway, can I now play with you, so to speak?
Yes, but hold on.
I've never felt like such a fool in my life.
See now, what we want you to do, we're going to try to teach you how to palm a basketball.
I've always wanted to do that. Just pick it up.
Just pick it up.
Use your hand.
Oh, come on. I can't. Is there a trick to it?
Yeah.
What is the trick?
Well, the trick is to get a ball up at your hand.
I can never do that.
Oh, Jackie.
That's very insulting, really, to give me.
No. Well, see, I have a big hand, so we got a big ball. You have a little hand, so you have a little ball.
Yeah, but must we emphasize this? You remember the time you hit me in the face?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, you were playing around with it. Okay. I want to do the real thing now.
The real thing,
Now,
okay.
could the average person see when the ball is coming? I don't want to get seriously injured.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to start it up?
I-
Yes. That's it. You know, every time that music starts, we start jumping
do anything I want.
Anything you want to do with it. Oh, you missed it.
All right. My sock got in the way.
All right. Now, remember the one that you said I hit you in the face with?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming in at the same direction. Oh!
That's just one I got past me.
Okay. Wait a minute, another one here. You got to get this one. This is a good one.
That is nice. That's beautiful. Cameron.
Oh. Say, Dick, I have an idea.
Yeah.
You remember what we were hearing? Oh, yes, you got it down.
Oh, I did that wrong, didn't I?
No, you did it
Put your
right.
hand out again. That's it.
Okay, let's go the whole route then, Dick. Handshake.
Yeah,
Come on this way.
that's right.
You got to seal it up, man.
Now, wait a
Seal it
minute.
up.
Wait a minute. I used to know that because I used to watch Amos and Andy.
No.
Now we're going to play for real, right?
All right.
No, Oh, you know, if I could do that, I would be one of the happiest people in the world.
You can do it. You can do it. Because we worked on it last time we
Just
won
go
the show.
fast and see if I can see where it's coming.
Right. Faster, he says, okay, let's put some on it, BJ. Can you whip it for him, Bob? Can you whip it for him? All right, all right. Faster, you gotta give it to him sometime now. All right, all right. All right, all right. All right. All right. Okay, get the leg, get the leg. You gotta get what we rehearsed, I think. All right. Lay it on it. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that was great there.
I'm beginning to think I should have sung with you and played basketball with Ethel Merman. I really get... We toss that over here. I can catch something. This is a word from Vitalis Dry Control. Oh, by the way, the Globetrotters are going to be in Wichita,
your
Lincoln, and
hometown.
Omaha, my hometowns.
That's right.
Well, Lincoln is my hometown. Great.
Not Omaha.
No, Omaha's all right, though.
Dick, can I use a little
Thank-
bit of that?
Hey, yeah, I'm going to give you this as a
Okay,
sort of
thank you,
award.
thank
Here's a word from Dry Vitalis, and we'll be right back.
That is hilarious, Bobby. I'm curious. I heard that Dick Cavett after that was going to try out for the NBA, huh?
Dick Cavett was a very engaging person. With you really never got to see the real Dick Cavett on the show. Matter of fact, he had contacted me. I think that we're going to do a show.
Beautiful.
Because all four of the members there are gone.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's going to be kind of like a tribute to the legends.
Yes, and we'll probably be talking about Bobby Joe Mason, who was the first to pass, and then Curly, then Meadowlark, who was second, and then Jackie Jackson, who was third, and then, as you know, Curly Neal died 2 months ago. So
Absolutely
we'll probably
right.
be talking about their lives there, and if he's lucky, I'll let him see my sword.
You know what, Bobby? I wanted to ask you, you know, in terms of, because I know we've spoken about this, how much has changed in the country. So, you know, tell us a little bit about your background. Where were you? Were you born in New York? Was it?
I was born in Harlem, not New York.
Okay.
Yeah, on 129th Street. And, you know, one day I was walking up the street and I met a gentleman named Cecil Watkins, and then he introduced me to a person named Holcomb Rucker. And Holcomb Rucker had the ability to speak to young kids in a manner that made them open up, made them listen, and made them do things. And his whole idea was to send them off to college, further their education, so that they could be a well-rounded person in the community. So I wanted to learn what he did, because whenever I'm speaking to young kids or to anyone, I try to use his mannerisms and his tone of voice, which was outstanding.
Interesting. So you were a coach, right? You coached several teams, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I coached at Boston College, Central Connecticut, LIU, Stanford University.
Absolutely.
And also, I taught a few classes in there, such as Western Civilization. I had in my class, I had Doug Flutie in one of my classes in Boston.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So when you were coaching, what points did you stress? I know the viewers, there are probably athletes out there watching this show. what tips could you give them in terms of how to succeed in, athletics?
Well, number one was I practiced catching. Number two, which was the number one, really, I practiced conditioning. So in the fourth quarter, I was stronger than anyone else. I mean, in the fourth quarter, it's amazing the ability that you have mentally and physically if you're in good condition and you're in better condition than anyone else. And the
Absolutely.
other is that I was a team player. And
Uh-huh.
getting all along with your team on the floor and off the floor is very important. That is Earl Manigault to the right. I got Earl Manigault off of Harran in 1968, and I told him that if he would, I would put him on my Rucker Pro team. And for 30 years, he went seeking other people to bring them off of drugs, and then telling young kids about the harm of drugs. That was a truly great feeling.
I can imagine. You had told me how when you grew up, how different it was back in Harlem, that everything was open, people partook and shared. Share a little bit with the viewers on that, about what you see.
Well, the number writers control the block, so and they dressed well. So we tried to dress well, and crime was a very little. But then one day in 1957, someone stole the laundry. And from there, we figured out that drugs had taken over our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And very slowly, all that was built up with extended families and with block association was dying. And we were targeted. It's too late to blame anyone because greed, the dollar, outside influence from overseas caused this. So we're here right now. We're here with the virus, which surely came from overseas. And we're also here with drugs as soon as we finish the virus. So we need to, at this point, start to fight to change this earth. And we surely see that we can. We had a marvelous thing called the Rucker Tournament where we all played, and the community could come on Saturdays and Sundays and be together. And they could see anyone from Willis Reed to Emmett Bryant, to Earl Monroe, to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to Tiny Archibald, to Freddie Crawford, to Bob McCullough. This was great. And of course, Joe Hammond and Pee Wee Kirkland. And if I don't say shake and bake, I'll be in a lot of trouble. So the NBA, the world famous Trotters or whatever, was all at 155th Street for you to enjoy.
Amazing. Dr. J played there also, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't mention Dr. J because he took my crowd. Him and Pablo Robinson, who was, oh gosh, when Dr. J and Pablo Robinson played at the Rucker, people sold their rooms across the street in the projects, and the kids were all on the school roof, and there wasn't a spot on the fence that you could get.
I can imagine. I'm going to say probably in the neighborhood, people were up on the buildings and watching. And what was the feeling like, Bobby?
It was very exciting. It was like being at the Hall of Fame every weekend, because not only you had your family, friends, and people that came from Europe and came from all over because it was a highly tourist spot, but it was nothing better. We played a championship every weekend at the Rucker.
I can imagine with the kind of players that you had there.
Hey, listen. Dr. J said sometimes a two meant more than a two. And that meant because young ladies from all over with the highest fashion came there and sat in the front row. So you could immediately be rewarded.
I can understand. So, I was curious, how did you get from basketball? You're starting alluding a little bit to it before, but how did you switch over from basketball, where you started getting involved in this drug education, and you do a lot of humanitarian work? How did that happen?
Well, it happened in 1968 when Bernard McLean and I had the Black Cultural Recreational Center on 8th Avenue and 118th Street. And our job was working with Mayor Koch, was to change the community. So I had a Globetrotter tournament with the juniors, seniors, and pros at Morningside. And then we had multiple clinics. And then we had a recreational center where we mentored. So we managed to change a community. The community and young men never let us forget this. I mean, never. It's not a day I walk by and someone will say, hey, Mr. Hunter, I said, well, hello, how are you doing? He said, you remember me from Morningside? So during that time, I would take various kids to drug programs that had got caught up. And Earl Manigault was one of them. And I had success with him. So this went into Sports Magazine, went to all over. So, I mean, it was a little bit more than actually I deserved because there was a lot of people helping me. But the point of it is a responsibility came toward me. And along with Artie Burt, Artie Georges, Reggie Gardner, and my close friend, Butch Purcell from Beth Israel, we were able to put a major dent in the drug program and the drug addiction in the Harlem area. So right, teach one drug-free world in which we are teaching young people how to approach other kids in order to protect them all, to keep them all, because we need an army for this war. So that's how I got involved. It glued itself together.
Thank you for relating that. You know, you were telling me, and we were discussing this the other day, and I want to go into a little bit more. You talked about the prevalence of drugs, the facts that they're getting so widespread and affecting so many of our families. And you mentioned that it was more than a community problem. You mentioned about a world war.
Yes, World War III. Of course, World War III, I'm going to mention it because this is World War III, and I really didn't understand what I was actually saying because then came the virus to prove it was World War III and that we had to get together and fight together as if it was a war. We needed people to make new materials. We need people to go out and get their hands dirty fighting the war. We needed people down into the ghettos. We needed to bring this full surface. One of the reasons is FLAKKA. FLAKKA. Flocka. I spoke at the mayor's convention, as you know, and there was about only 25 mayors that knew what Flocka was. I spoke at another international with the international mayors, and there was 2 people that had an idea what Flocka was. How can something that is attacking our community like nobody's business, I mean like the devil itself, like it doesn't exist. Flocka, there's 1% of high school and college students on Flocka. You can mix Flocka with any drug there is. You can mix Flocka with any drug there is and become a high scientist. Of course, on the larger level, they're mixing it with opioids. I had trouble getting the mask in from China, but the Flocka came right on in. And it comes in from South America. But I drew the line about 4 years ago when I found out they were approaching young kids in elementary school and make them Flocka and drug dealers. So I had nothing better else to do on this world than to draw a line and said, I'm gonna make a stop to this. I had no advertisement because no one knew what Flocka was. Why is that? I couldn't go directly into schools because they didn't want you coming in there talking about drugs. So I had to recruit some football players. And luckily, while my teeth was being done and a good friend was reading my mind, Dr. Ben, he said, well, let's team up together. And then we began to do a marvelous fight with his daughter. And some of the things, he taught me things in the structure of recruitment. It's very important, of recruitment, because I looked at it another angle. But the method of having ministers, of having doctors recruit, and also of setting down motions that spread, where one group, one person goes and all of a sudden he develops 100 people. And that person goes to another country and he develops another 1,000 people. So I said, wait a minute. So it doesn't happen at one time, but you become stronger. You become more advertised. People begin to see the picture. You go past that red tape. You go past that nefariousness that is occurring, because for some reason, if this drug is not known, then someone is behind it, making money.
So very true, Bobby. You know, just to show to the viewers, because they're probably wondering the program. So the program you have here on the screen, and this is drugfreeworld.org, where you can actually download the booklets. And these booklets are in different languages. Here we have it in English and in Spanish here. And also, there are different booklets on every drug. This happens to be LSD. This one happens to be ecstasy. Here in New York, obviously, we're doing a tremendous heroin epidemic where we're in the midst of this, aside from COVID. Something, Bobby, that I was looking at the other day is that in San Francisco, actually in the last 3 or 4 months, something that's a very interesting statistic is, with all the concern about COVID, rightfully so, but there were actually more drug deaths in San Francisco due to drugs and drug overdose than there has been from COVID this year. And it was very interesting. Another thing that's been borne out is that with all the stress of the COVID, the use of alcohol and drugs is going sky high. And so I'm really happy that we teamed up together on this program, Drug Free World, that you can get and download. For those of you out there, you can run your own program. So you had told me you made your own song on this, right, Bob? Because you had like a mantra.
I beg your pardon, I didn't hear you clearly.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, I think you developed a mantra and that you made it into a song that you were actually teaching kids with.
Well, yeah, you know, you have to communicate on the level of the person. And along with Billy T, he helped me do this. And I took his grandchildren and we made a video called Hey Man, That Ain't My Thing. And it's been working greatly. I mean, when I go to an airport and a young kid grabs me and say, hey man, that ain't my thing, then I know that now I'm approaching people in a manner to get them to hear. Because the great Rucker had the ability and the pitch to get people to hear that normally don't listen.
Well, let's play. You know what, engineer? Let's play Bobby's video right now. Hey, man, that ain't my thing.
They got coke, they got smoke, they got pills that would kill, they got ice, they got ecstasy, they got ecstasy, they got flocka. They got friends that'll come and get into your ear and they'll say, man, let's have some speed, let's stay up all night, let's do some sin, let's have some gin. But all you have to do friends, look him in the eye, say, hey man, that ain't my thing. And you still can be cool, you still can be fly, you still can be fresh, you can be down with all that mess. All you have to say, hey man, that ain't my thing. They got coke, they got smoke, they got pills that will kill, they got ice, they got ecstasy, they got destiny, they got flocka. They got friends that will whisper in your ear and say, let's do some speed. Let's stay up all night. Let's do some sin. Let's have some gin. I was born on 129th Street in Lenox Avenue. We slept on the roof. The doors was open. The windows wasn't closed. You went downstairs and you could stay from 8 to 8 with no problems. Just don't cross the street. Sleeping on the roof was very warm and very friendly. Then one day, the laundry was stolen off the roof. Who could take the laundry? We didn't know that drugs had come into our neighborhood. We had been targeted. Our life was over. Now, drug-free world is here to stay. Everybody, let's get down the drug-free world. Let's get free. Let's all be together. Let's have no sin. Hey man, all you have to say, hey man, that ain't my thing. They got coke, they got smoke, they got pills that will kill. They got ice, they got ecstasy, they got destiny, they got flocka. They got a friend that'll whisper in your ear, let's take some speed. Let's stay up all night. Let's have some sin. Let's drink some gin. And all you have to say is, hey man, that ain't my thing. You can still be cool. You can still be. My name is Bobby Hunter, and I'm here to tell you a few things. They're going to try to come to you with some smoke, some dope. They're going to try to come to you with some ecstasy and some pills that would kill. But I want you to tell them one thing. Hey man. What's your name? Do you know anything about dope?
No.
How come? Well, I'm here to tell you today that they're going to try to come to you with some dope, some smoke, some coke. But what I want you to do is I want you to tell them, hey man, one more time. Drug-free world. Drug-free world. I love you. Drug-free world. This is Bobby Hunter, and I approve this message.
Beautiful. Bobby, you know, who helped you to put that video together?
You know, one of the things is, and I saw Megan Fialco do it so well, was instructing people that you look at it in a different manner of how to approach a community and teach the community about the harm of drugs. The recruitment is most powerful. I didn't realize what Dr. Ben was doing until I went on occasion with some officers in Long Island where he was teaching the officers. Now, I went before with the Army into several high schools. And then I brought the marijuana and drug piece to them. And they helped me and assisted me. And they did it in a manner that I didn't think was going to work, but they did. Meaning you can't go to the Army if you're caught with marijuana or drugs. Meaning you can't get a civil service job if you're caught with marijuana or drugs. Meaning that you will not be able to be in your community and you ruin your career. That was working. We weren't able to finish it because of the virus coming. And we had the help of the veterans, which again, Ben took me out to Long Island and I heard two senior veterans that were deeply involved say, hey, I'll help you. That's really great when you hear someone say, how can I help?
Absolutely. You know what? Tonight, with our viewers watching, I want to actually present you with an award for the amount of work which you've done against drugs, which has been unbelievable. And I want to actually show the viewers this gold medal.
Wow. Hey, I love it, Dr. Ben, because I'll wear it and I can't wait for someone to ask me, say, what is that medal for?
Well, let's go.
Hey, you gave me another barometer here to work with.
Well, let's actually share with the viewers, and this is actually what goes with it. That I want, if you could zoom in on this, engineer. So let me read that to you. And this is an actual presidential award for the many hours, you know, Mr. Hunter, that you've done at the Super Bowl, in Harlem, at different sporting activities, all the athletes that you brought in. This is from the president. Here we go. I'm reading from the letter. Congratulations on receiving the President's Volunteer Service Award. On behalf of a grateful nation, I thank you for your service to your fellow Americans and those most in need. Through your dedicated service, you have ensured the continuation of America's unparalleled commitment to improving the lives of others. Over this past year, you have served as a model of the American spirit. Your many hours of service have strengthened the bonds of cooperation and trust that bring people together, while helping to address some of the greatest challenges of our time. One of our nation's greatest strengths remains the compassion of everyday citizens who give up so willingly of themselves, their lives, for the benefit of others. I got to stop here for a minute because I think this letter is totally made for you. So I'll continue. Each generation of hardworking and kind-hearted volunteers helps to write a new chapter of American greatness. And our nation is proud for your commitment to this honorable tradition. As we reflect on your many acts of kindness and charity over this past year, our nation draws inspiration from these and from those who answer the call to help the communities and our nation. With your continued efforts to build our nation's culture of service, America will proudly remain a land of freedom and opportunity for all. Thank you for your enduring commitment to serving your community and our nation. I trust that you will continue to work for the betterment of others and even stronger future for the American people. From the President of the United States of America, and below this here is actually also then your award.
Wow, man. Hey, you started off slow, but at the end, it caught my breath. It feels just like in 2002 when the Globetrotters, we went to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. That felt pretty much the same as this award in which you're giving me. And this award will be very useful because I'll wear this and I want somebody to ask me, what is this for? So that I can explain to them what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I mean, you're an amazing guy. Since the time I met you a few years ago, and the work that you do. Now, I think, you know, because not to also forget these other aspects of your life, you have some kind of another humanity, nonprofit, humanitarian corporation. I think it's about art.
Art Against Violence. And Art Against Violence is athletes that are artists. And you'd be surprising the amount of artists there are, from Dwayne Wade on. And what we do is we sell the art to help recreational programs in certain areas. I found out that I was a major fusion artist, and well, I guess from sitting in class drawing took away my grades, but looked like it helped my art ability. So who knew?
Beautiful. You were actually awarded at our annual gala a few years ago, and you spoke there. So, engineer, if you can put on the video of Mr. Hunter at the gala, please.
The Drug Free World Foundation is doing a marvelous job in helping. One of the things it's done is gave me a weapon. Now I have Drug Free World, and I'm able to give information to young kids, and also I'm able to give it to government officials, because we don't know about drugs. We think we do. And those that do, you still don't. In Kansas, they did not know about this. They didn't know about ecstasy. They didn't know about flava. They didn't know about ice. They don't know. And these pamphlets that are given by Drug Free World are instrumental in teaching adults about it. Young kids have to be fashionable. Young kids have to have street cred. Young kids have to be cool. So I told them, you can still be cool. Have all your street cred. You can be down. You can walk the walk. But when they ask you about doing drugs, sniffing coke, doing smoke, sinning, then you just look at them and all you have to say is, hey man, that ain't my thing.
So I'm curious, what did you feel when you were awarded the gala, Bobby? There were all kinds of different people from the DEA, from NYPD, from different countries, General Nahara, the Air Force General of Guatemala, different people from all parts of the world. What were you thinking at that time?
I was just thinking that we have to find a method of coming together to save the world and save the young kids, because we're at World War III. And if I thought we were at World War III with drugs, the COVID-19 made it very evident. And after we get through the drugs and everything, then we can work on bringing ourselves together for a better life. Because we're supposed to live better as our grandfathers and grandmothers did. And we've lost that in between money and sin and greed. So this program is great. It had one great word in it. It said the truth. And that's all you have to do.
Absolutely. You know, you bring out some really good points that are important to highlight. And that's one of them, aside from the flocka, is the fentanyl. And this synthetic fentanyl had been coming into the United States for the last 5 years, causing a tremendous number of deaths in youth. The reason being that, you know, when somebody young who has never really done very much in terms of drugs, maybe they may have once or twice done something, and they go to a party where they have a bowl of pills and they throw the pills into the bowl, you know, to be cool, like you said. And they come in, and what's happened is, unfortunately, somebody has bought in fentanyl, and that child, that youth, or that young adult, it basically ODs at that point, because the fentanyl, depending on how you speak to, is 10, 15, some people say 50 times stronger than morphine. So the person never has a chance. you know, the naloxone, the Narcan is not going to reverse the fentanyl. I think you wanted to say something, Bobby.
Yeah, the difference in Flocka is that if you hear someone biting at a policeman's face or jumping off a building naked, you know that they had Flocka. But Molly has taken over Georgia, taken over Atlanta. Molly. Just look it up, Molly. And Molly is defended by the people there. They have Molly t-shirts. They have Molly DJs. They got Molly clubs.
It's amazing, isn't it? You know, it's amazing that in New Jersey, a few weeks ago, they actually legalized marijuana. And, you know, when you look at what happened in San Francisco this year, when you look at what you're saying about Atlanta, when you look at what's happening on Long Island, and when you look at some facts that the viewers should know, is that the National Institute of Health has come out on all the negative aspects of marijuana and have basically published the effects on newborns and on pregnant mothers. So it's amazing, like you said, Bobby. I think I cut you off. Continue. You were going to say something more also.
No, not really. You said what I wanted to say, especially when you have a friend to try to convince you that marijuana is now all right to take because it's legal. Marijuana is okay to take now that it's legal, but it still leads that same path to destruction. And also, it increases the economics for drugs. They're partners. The drugs are all partners. So you can't separate one because the other one is doing the same thing. It's in charge of death. It's in charge of ruining a neighborhood. It's in charge of affecting a person's health.
Absolutely. You know what? I sometimes when I'm trying to get a point across to someone who's speaking to me and we're having a discussion on the marijuana, I always say to them, you know what? Let's take this scenario. So this is a free country and we should all have equal rights. If I have a hard day at the office and I'm a surgeon, I do implant surgery, I do gum surgery for 40 years. So I come in and let's say I wasn't in drug-free world, I'm somebody else. And I see my patient, I make you, Bobby, the patient. And I say, hello, Mr. Hunter. Nice to have you today. You know what? I've had a really rough day, but don't worry, I'm going to take good care of you. Let me just go relax for a few minutes. I will be right back. I'm going to leave you here with my receptionist. I come back in and you hear, you smell something and you see me going like this. And I go like that and I go, okay, I'm ready for you now. And I always say to them, will you stay in that chair? And the answer is no. They say to me, I won't
well,
stay
this
in
is a
that
great
chair.
program. And it says, tell the truth.
That's right.
And I've disassociated with some people that were fairly close that is trying to convince me that marijuana is all right, because it is not.
Exactly. Well, you know, the little story I told before could happen with airline pilots, right? Because Airline Pilot Association may say, you know, we don't want to be discriminated against. And so you get to the airport and you're going to fly Southwest or JetBlue or any airline. And this is totally hypothetical, but imagine you see the pilot coming in and he's been smoking to relax. Let me ask you a question, Bobby. Would you get on that airplane?
Hey, listen, I would want to get on Van Nuys. With some people driving cars, oh gosh, they don't need any marijuana at all. Imagine somebody in the car with marijuana with their phone in their hand. And then you know you have to have a drink after. So I mean, all we have to do is a lack of sin can take us and free us and make our bodies a church where we eat right properly and we sleep. And it's nothing like a glass of water and 7 hours sleep. boy, I didn't know it could be that great.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, Bobby, as our show comes to an end here, what would you like to relate at this very crucial time in our country's existence, with all that's been going on and with drugs? What would you want to purvey to those watching tonight about what you would like to see in this 2021?
I would like to see us come together in our small little communities and our little meetings. And then in that meeting, have each person leave to go and get his own meeting and his own crowd together to say that we must live right without drugs, to be free and eat right and be healthy. And all we have to do is tell the truth. It's time for the truth.
You know, in all the religious texts, it says the truth will set you free. And you speak really very simple but profound words. I found after so many years of doing what I do, that the basics of what I was taught are really the most important parts of what I do day in and day out. Sometimes people come to me and they go, well, how come this dental implant didn't come out right? And I look at it and I see that the basics are out, Bobby. So you're right. With basics is where things can get better. Basics is how everything starts. When you were coaching and you were coaching these athletes, I know you were talking to me about basics. Tell me what you would tell them about the basics of basketball.
Well, basketball is very simple, and it's like your life. If you don't shoot the ball, it won't go in. And then you have to practice doing the right thing. Doing the right thing takes practice.
Absolutely. So, you know what? I wanted to, for the viewers, put up this nice uniform that you had actually donated, you know, to the group. And it's amazing all the things that you've done. I know you also do a lot with the homeless. Is that right?
Yes, we have a homeless program that has been shut down right now. But what we're dealing with now is a South American group that is going to help us have enough food where we be able to take care of children on the weekends, homeless veterans, and homeless people who won't go to homeless shelters. So we're looking to do a couple of portable homeless pieces that will build up to get the person to take the next step to go to a shelter.
Absolutely. You know, one of the other things that you had mentioned and that we were actually working on together was the veterans program, where we were helping veterans, and dentists were actually getting together and helping the veterans. And the veterans were actually in turn then starting to get involved in another war, you know, because these veterans have fought many wars, and now they're fighting a war against us by educating the youth of our country and preserving the future of our country. A lot of things that we've been doing together. I know that you spoke with the Army, I think, at one point.
Yes.
When you were doing some of these veteran events, right?
Yeah, the Army, we were going to go to South Carolina and do the whole state.
Okay. Well, you know what? I appreciate that Mr. Hunter was able to come on the show with us tonight. And I want to thank all the viewers for having tuned in tonight to this edition of the Time for Truth. We're in 2021, and this year will definitely be a year where we take all the knowledge that we've obtained in 2020 and we apply it. Where we come together, I've talked to a lot of people, and it's very interesting how we've come to appreciate each other. We appreciate the men working at the utility companies, the men and women in the schools, the parents, the police department, the religious leaders, the political leaders. This year has become a year where we've come to realize that we run as a team. And tonight's show with Mr. Bobby Hunter was very important because he has been on so many important Globetrotter teams. And so I want to thank all of you. And Bobby, I was about to say goodbye to our audience. If you want to bid them goodbye also.
Drug-free world. Drug-free world.
Well, there you go. From Bobby Hunter to all of you out there watching, have a great night and a great 2021.